Hello and welcome back to Tinker Talks Guns. We're doing things a little different this week. Let me lay out a scenario for you. You're a new gun owner, or going to be a new gun owner rather, and you've done your safety classes, your due diligence, you've got your concealed carry permit, and you want a good gun for concealed carry and self-defense in the home. So, you look at your options and you look at your budget. And you know you're going to need practice ammo and tax and fees and everything. And you come to the unhappy conclusion that your drop-dead budget for the gun itself is $200. Not very inspiring. And by $200, I don't mean $225 or $235 or you should just save your money and get something twice as much. None of that crap. You have $200, that's it. So, I consulted Gunbroker to see what was available easily for $200. And there are not that many options. The first thing that pops up, of course, starting at about $125, are Heritage Rough Riders. The Heritage Rough Rider is a single-action .22 caliber that is often provided within budget with a .22 Magnum cylinder. It holds 9 shots, but it's a single action and it takes roughly a geologic epoch to unload and reload it. So between the caliber and the very bad loading time in the single action operation, not a great choice. Similarly, you can get the Ruger Wrangler, which might be a little bit better choice in terms of quality, but it holds fewer shots and has all the disadvantages of the Rough Rider. So not your best option. Then you come to the semi-autos. And the first thing that pops up, of course, is a Hi-Point C9, which is a single stack, 9mm, cheaply made, arguably ugly, but they tend to run well, and they have a lifetime warranty. The problem is one of your specifications is concealed carry, and they are bulky as hell and quite heavy. So, not your best choice. They're also a little... Things like the safety and things are a little just kind of cheesy. Nothing against the Hi-Point. They work. But they are big, bulky, heavy. Moving on, we find a slightly more trim package in the Sky, or SCCY, 9mm pistols. And they certainly appear to fill the bill. They're slim, compact, single stack. The issue is they have an awful double-action trigger and indifferent quality control. So if you get a good one, you'll have a functional pistol with a terrible trigger. Now, yes, the Gen 2 has come out. I am told that they may have upped their game on the quality control, and the trigger is less horrible. It's still horrible, but it's less horrible. So, but it fits the bill better than any of the other guns simply by virtue of its size and, modern configuration, reasonably lightweight. Then, there's this. This is the Taurus G2s. It is a single stack Micro 9 with an interesting trigger mechanism and quite a few features. So, what do you get for your $200? Let's do some shooting. So I put 100 rounds through the gun with no malfunctions. Most of that was Winchester white box with lowest common denominator mass market 9mm ammo. And the gun functioned flawlessly. 115 grain hollow points functioned flawlessly. 147 grain Federal HST functioned flawlessly. So 100 rounds isn't that much, but it's not nothing. Also, the accuracy was quite good, and keeping double taps well on target at 7 yards for a Micro 9 straight out of the box is pretty good. So we're looking promising so far. Let's go to the tabletop and have a closer look at this little thing. So the G2s is a subcompact 9mm, with all that implies. Now, in shooting it, some would undoubtedly find it snappy. I found it very controllable, not at all unpleasant to shoot, and kept the rounds on targets in rapid fire very nicely indeed. So, kudos on that score. The gun is, as I said, subcompact. It's 6 1/4 inches long, hair under 5 inches tall, and 1.1 inches thick. So, not the most compact gun in the world, but, you know, it's a good, manageable size. I can get 3.5 fingers on it, which was more than adequate to maintain control of the gun in rapid fire. For features, the gun has a manual safety, which I'm not sure why, but it does. It's not huge, doesn't feel flimsy at all, and it makes a good place to use as a gas pedal to rest your thumb. The slide stop is low profile, but very easy to use. I was a little concerned about its proximity to the safety, given that I like that thumb-high grip, but I never inadvertently, kept the slide from locking back on empty. So, it has Glock-style takedown. We'll get back to that. And the texturing on the grip is good and well-placed. And really, it's grippy without being abrasive. And it's really quite good. I do wish there was, some up here. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. It's being finicky today. Okay, so I do wish there was some texture up here. It does have this spot, theoretically, for your thumb, I guess, and a memory pad on each side, which is a nice feature. And in a two-handed grip, it's good. The sights are 3 dots. Pretty standard stuff. There's enough air on each side of it to make sight alignment pretty quick and easy. And while 3-dot sights are not my favorite, it does work. The trigger is interesting because it is, Taurus calls it a double action, single action, and it kind of is. So initially you have this take up, and then you kind of hit a wall, and then it goes off. Now, at rest, the striker goes to the half-cock position, just like on a Glock or practically any other striker-fired gun on the market. So you do have to bring it to full cock, then you hit kind of a wall here, and then it goes off cleanly. And the double action cycle breaks at 5.5 pounds, which is, not bad. But this gun has a party trick. So you've pulled your trigger, the gun has cycled, and your reset is single action. And then you pull through, and it gives really good control of the gun, which I like, especially in a self-defense oriented pistol. So the other thing the double action trigger gives you is the ability to restrike. And like a good double action revolver, when you're firing it, you don't really feel the wall. You just pull through, and it goes. So some people are going to like the trigger, some people are not. To me, I mean, it does have that Glock-like striker-fired squishiness, but it does have a clean break and a commendably short reset. So there's a lot to like there. Now, interesting to me, which I did not know, is the rear sight is adjustable for windage and elevation. And no, this screw is not an adjustment screw. That's the screw that holds it on. The rear screw adjusts elevation, and the front screw adjusts windage. These sights it's shooting a little bit low with range ammo, but, they're all right. I haven't bothered to adjust it yet, but I probably will. The sight appears to be plastic, but it's low profile. It gives a decent sight picture. The front sight is replaceable, as is the rear sight, I imagine. There's not a ton of aftermarket support, but you can get tritium night sight or fiber optic sight for it. It also has a loaded chamber indicator that simply rides on the lip of the cartridge and exposes this red bit, or sticks up enough that you can easily feel, even in the dark, whether the chamber is loaded. There is a rail for a light under the front, which is a useful feature if this is going to flex into home defense. I have no idea if you can find a holster for a G2C or G2s with a light, but there are holsters available. In fact, Taurus will sell you one for about $40. I cannot comment on the quality of that because I don't know. Now, one deficit for some people is the controls are very much not ambidextrous. Now, for the slide stop, not that big a deal because you can just slingshot it. But the safety is right hand only. So if you're a southpaw, you're going to want to leave the safety off. And about that safety, it is big enough and robust enough to use as a gas pedal for control and firing. I like that. And I would be inclined to grip the gun with the thumb on the safety, simply because that way you know damn well it's off. And if you always do it the same way every time, you're not going to screw up in an emergency. The magazine release is easy to hit. Although with my big hand, I do have to open my grip to drop the magazine. That's a function of my hand, not a problem with the gun. And again, even though I have very large hands, I do get that little pinky on there just enough. Now, takedown is very Glock-like. Make sure there's no magazine, no round in the chamber, pull the slide back a little, pull these down, pull the trigger, and the slide comes right off the front of the gun. As I say, very Glock-like, very easy, pretty intuitive. The mechanism and everything is pretty much exactly what you'd expect. There is a firing pin block safety, so the gun is drop safe even without the safety engaged. Striker here in your very conventional position. And everything's pretty well done in here. There's no chatter marks, machine marks, or any of that sort of garbage. The recoil assembly is a double piston, fully captured recoil system, which is nice. And I think that's metal. Well, which you wouldn't necessarily expect on an economy gun like this. Although I'm pretty sure that this top part of the piston is plastic. And then, of course, you just pop the barrel out through the back in the expected conventional fashion. Reassembly is simple. Put all the guts back where they belong. Put the slide on the frame. Rack it to the rear. And you're good to go. So, there's a lot to like here. I'm not really seeing anything to not like. The magazine well is beveled, but not a ton. But as you can see, There's plenty of clearance for getting a magazine in quickly. The pinky rest on there is pretty important for me, and it will be important even for people with smaller hands. And there's nowhere rubbing me any unpleasantly. There's no hot spots developed in the course of shooting. It's a very workmanlike, functional gun. The G2s and its big brother, the G2c, which is practically identical in size and has a 12-round magazine, they're based on the PT-111 G2, which came out relatively early this century. I don't know. But in 2018, they came out with the G2C with a 12-round double-stack magazine and the G2S for those of us in the benighted states that only allow 10-round magazine capacities. And it's a little slimmer than a G2C, but not enough that I'm sure it would make much difference for anyone. I've seen a lot of reviews of these. They vary, but everyone I've seen, the gun functions fine. People are divided on whether or not they like the trigger. Everybody seems to like the texture. People are divided on the safety. Most people don't like it, and I don't know why it's there on a gun of this type, but I don't object to it. And there's no way around it. It's a hell of a lot of gun for the money. It's compact. It's 20 ounces. It's lightweight enough. Has the 3.2-inch barrel. So it's pretty representative of the breed. It's just hundreds of dollars less than most of the breed. And honestly, as squishy Glock-style striker-fired triggers go, this one's pretty good. And certainly breaking at 5.5 in double action and 4 pounds in single action, it's actually better than a lot of them. So I'm trying to figure out why I would pay more for a gun of this type, and I got nothing. Now, yes, durability long-term may be an issue. If there is a problem, customer service may be an issue, because Taurus is not always the best about that, although since I'm told that in recent years they've gotten very much better. And of course, if you want modularity, and you might, that's going to cost more. Quite a bit more. But really, I mean, it's early days, but for $200, why wouldn't you? Or better yet, if you live in a more enlightened state, why wouldn't you spend $30, $40 more and get the G2C with a 12-round magazine? And by the way, this comes with 2 7-round magazines, both of which work just fine. So maybe doing more shooting with this. And this is going to become my compact test gun when I test different types of defensive ammunition, because a lot of people carry micro 9s. I like it more than I want to. But aside from arguably the safety, there's not what is there to not like? The name, Taurus. Get over it. Anyway, so the $200 challenge is met. Is it an ideal all-purpose gun? No, it has a 7-round capacity. It's small. Some people will find it snappy. But if you have to compromise on a limited budget, you could do worse, and honestly, I'm not sure you could do better. Time will tell as we fire more rounds through it. And always remember, my review is a sample size of 1. So do a little research, due diligence, see what other reviewers have to say. And if at all possible, go to a local range where you can rent one and fire it. But I like it. This gun was purchased in large part with your Patreon dollars. Thank you very much for that. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the description below. Ammunition, guns, it all cost money. Kick $1 or $2 a month my way if you like the videos and want to see more and better. If you like the video, and if you're still watching it, you probably did, click the like button below, because that helps YouTube realize that I exist and to spread the good word. And if you really liked it, subscribe so you'll see all the new videos as they come out. Anyway, I hope this finds you well. Stay safe, take care, and we'll talk to you again real soon.